how am I going to fit into this world? What this cadence that they use to speak, the way that, I just didn't want it to be like this, I just didn't want to, I kept thinking of, Jimmy Stewart.
Well, as they say in the Bronx, make yourself to home, Mr. Mankiewicz, or shall I call you Herman?
No, please, call me Mank.
Marion Davies was a movie star. She has a lot of footage of her as her characters, the actress. You can get a sense of her essence very, very easily. She's accessible and her characters were relatable. And I felt her in those roles.
Did you say something?
No, I didn't say a thing.
Oh. Well, why don't you?
The first time I had the whole costume on, the first time I was really fully in Marion was for the camera tests. And I FaceTimed my father because I was in awe. The way I moved in these materials and even the shoes, it couldn't have been more authentic without me actually having been there. It was just a lot of masters doing their best to create this whole look. A lot of people doing a lot of research and spending a lot of hours making the wig and the fake fur and then finding all the costume jewelry. Every little piece, every little decision that was made really weighed heavily on me. I felt like I was being worn by her, and that, for the first time in my career, it really took me to a deeper space with the character. Really, what would we do without our costumes and our, these gateways to these people who we will never meet?
What do I have to complain about? I live in a fishbowl, but anything I want is mine. If I could, I'd share with everyone.
There was really nothing that I could find of her behind the scenes, like us speaking right now. There were no interviews that I could see of her. I didn't have any footage of her stutter. I didn't have any of that.
I don't even know who this Mr. Sinclair is, but he wrote about us for a book. I used to could quote it word for word.
Part of me thought very early on, how am I going to fit into this world? I am a 2019 girl. What this cadence that they use to speak, the way that, I just didn't want it to be like this, I just didn't want to, I kept thinking of, Jimmy Stewart.
Well, who's apologizing?
That was the caricature in my head of the way people spoke at this time. So I knew in some ways that was going to be really difficult for me, and difficult to ground that for me. And then I also knew that the dialogue was already written. So if I just let that lead me, if I was present as I could possibly be with the characters on set with me, that it wasn't gonna be so hard to feel.
Those things just pop out of my mouth, and the moment they do, I feel like
you got caught.
And then David Fincher, who's David Fincher? For a reason. There's not a moment lost for him. And whether it be take 20 or 80, he'll be there all day, all week if he needs to, because he knows it's possible. And so I realize now it's going to be hard to go back to work and not get to do one scene for an entire week. It was tedious, but I got that performance, he got that performance out of all of his actors because we had the time to take it apart, put it back together, and be fully present and fully there for our characters, for the story, for the audience. And sorry, but that's what life's about, and I don't want to miss it.
Ah, nerds.
What is that?
Pops' radio phones. Never ever be out of touch with your empire.
No, what's nerds?
Nerds is Brooklynese for nuts.
Jeepers.
I knew that I was going to need an accent, so we decided to just focus on slight Brooklyn accent, her Brooklynese, and let that kind of carry who she really was when the cameras weren't rolling.
I hate shop talk. I never know what's going on.
And I think that actually made so much more of an impact than I thought it would. And it felt like they knew her a little bit more because there was that connection to where she was brought up. And I think that's easier to relate to.
I would have loved to play me 10 years ago.
It was never meant to be you.
For myself, I don't care, Mank. Really, I don't.
In the grand scheme of things, I think this role of Marion Davies has brought me deeper into myself as an actor, for sure. And also I got to know somebody who were very similar in so many ways. I think she deserved more, and I think it taught me that not only can we restore a legacy like that through our art form, but also that nobody's that far off, nobody's that different. You know, 80 years have gone by, but there are a lot of similarities in who we were as humans back then, who we are now. And I am so much more grateful for the people who have kind of paved the way for me to be here as an actress in 2021, being able to kind of call the shots in a way that she wasn't able to. So as much as she did and as many contributions as she made to the art form and to the world, really, there's a comeuppance here for her.
I already made my exit.